Hey everyone, Tactics here with another Mythic Plus title route walkthrough. This time I'm going to be covering one of the more rigid dungeons, Atal'Dazar. We'll be going through the route that we used on this 2-chested plus 26 fortified key, and also is being used to time some plus 30s and even plus 31s as well. So it is a route that is going to be usable all the way up to the very highest level. I'll provide some commentary here and hopefully give you guys some easy to miss details that you didn't know and tips and tricks that will help you guys to both improve and, if you're going for it, push for that 0.1% title. Now, I already have the Waycrest video for this series out over on my channel if you want to check that out. Also link it in the description below, and I'll be putting out more videos for the rest of these Season 3 dungeons over the next week or so. So be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you do not miss a video. Otherwise, let's get into the dungeon here right off the bat. And of course, we're going to go to Razan to start off here with a couple packs of these dinos. Fortified weeks, you want to be pretty careful because these dinos can get scary on these higher fortified keys. Especially if you stack up, you want to make sure you do a little spread here. See our range kind of spread a little bit here so they don't cleave each other. And they're going to start jumping down here shortly. And we're going to pop Lust here. Good spot to pop defensives as well so you don't die to these Saras. I think we have a mass barrier going in. Initially, we're going to chain mass barriers as well. We start stacking up to LOS. And you see a lot of people go low. I throw a sack out. We probably needed to just, I think, pre-plan better who's LOSing where. Having, you know, the melee and me maybe go here, a couple range go here, and one range go around that way, just to spread out where the swords are jumping so you don't have that moment where two people nearly die. Let's talk about pursuits for a second, because at this point, you know, the swords are instantly dying. You saw there it was canceled. Any type of combat drop works. So feign death, vanish, invis from Rogue Mage Hunter. The other thing that works is Shadow Meld. Shadow Meld does function slightly differently, though. You can Shadow Meld even if you are not fixated by Razan during the pursuit, and it will cancel that pursuit. So very powerful tool, for example, if like, hey, your evoker is getting fixated, or, you know, someone who's not a night elf or doesn't have a drop available, you can use your Shadow Meld then to drop combat on that player, even though you are not being fixated. Kind of weird, kind of clunky, but that is how that works. The other thing, in terms of how Pursuit actually targets players, it needs to have 2 eligible players, and basically how you're eligible is by being at range. So if you're directly in the center of the hitbox, you won't be eligible to be picked by Pursuit if 2 players are outside. And so what you're going to see here, specifically on the second Pursuit of the fight, because all the dinos are now dead, you're going to see me and the healer run away from Razan here just before Pursuit starts, and the 3 DPS are going to stack directly underneath Razan, and you're going to see I'm actually going to get picked by Pursuit here. So that is how you ever see a tank get picked by Pursuit here, is if there isn't any other eligible targets and they are actually outside at range as well. So you need to have 2 people, and it'll basically 50-50 between those 2 players. So that's how you can force it. Now, our DPS are basically free damaging the boss here, and I'm kiting the boss this way because we're going to add 2 dinos to the boss as well now on this side of it. So we're just going to run the rest of the way. You have this staircase over here to LOS, this terrifying visage. Just make sure to pull the boss over to it. I think this is where, yeah, little shenanigans happening. Priest mobility, not great for pulling these guys. I recommend having like your evoker. I think I've seen anyone basically with a decent amount of range and mobility can go up there and grab these guys and get back in time so they can be picked up by the tank. I probably could have also bopped him. That probably would have been good as well. But in general, if you have an evoker, that's probably the better player to actually go up and grab these so that we don't have the death there. But we're now just picking these guys up, and we just have kicks assigned to each of them. Of course, though, anyone can grab them with a CC or anything like that. That's why they're fairly easy to pull onto the boss here. I actually also recommend at this point to kite down this way towards the, I guess, west rather than this way, just because it makes LOSing a little easier, because you can just move the boss a little less and use the outcroppings on the side of the room to LOS. This way there's not as much stuff to LOS. I actually think he gets caught here, right? Yeah. He actually gets caught a little bit there. Not ideal, and because we use that battle res, we don't have it, but he's the Og Evoker, and boss is already at 25%, so it's not the end of the world here. We are able to just finish off the boss just fine. For tanks, that bleed is nasty. The serrated bleed. You're going to get 1 per phase here, and obviously if you're shadow melding or combat dropping, the bleeds happen quicker. There's less of a gap between the bleeds because he doesn't do the pursuit channel. So be aware of that. Have defensive available. I had Evoker bleed cleanse for this one, but of course the Evoker was dead, so I used Bubble here. The previous one I had Dwarf. The one on Pull where, you know, in Bloodlust and Sentinel, all that stuff, so I don't actually use anything on that one. So just make sure you have a pretty large cooldown or a bleed cleanse available for every single one of these serrated teeth debuffs, and that's pretty much the entire boss. We pulled a bunch of stuff onto him basically. You can use the staircase, and for future pursuits, we can go down this way and LOS on these outcroppings there. I think he's just going to combat drop it again. Yeah, so, you know, you can combat drop it, do it. Less movement, great. If not, it's not the end of the world. Just make sure you're doing it into a good spot here. And we're now going to head up and go towards the left side where you get some very exciting pulls. But in reality, basically, you do 1 pack at a time here outside of this first pull, which is 2 3-packs. And the name of the game here is controlling juggernauts. And you can tell this is actually the first key that we did at this, like a first 26 Atal'Dazar we did, first fortified Atal'Dazar we did that was this high, and the first time we attempted to bait juggernauts, and it didn't go super well. So basically, these juggernauts will also only pick ranged targets. The issue is you need to be quite close to them for them to not consider you ranged targets, and so we don't quite stack well enough underneath them. Obviously, you can't see my party too well in these frames here, but basically, we don't stack directly under the juggernauts, and so sometimes it'll pick us as the actual charge target. Not ideal. That's just a wipe if you go up 2 key levels basically every single time that happens. What we are actually using are these mirror images outside, and they will get picked as well, but because we are also eligible targets because we're not in melee underneath these juggernauts, we sometimes get picked, sometimes the mirror images get picked. But basically, guardians are very, very useful. They kind of bait the juggernaut charges as well. So mirror images, I think imps from Demo Locks do it. The real easy one and the best one by far is Ox Statue from any kind of monk. That's really, really good. You can just drop, excuse me, drop it down there. Everyone just stacks directly underneath the juggernauts, and it can just bait all the charges nice and easy. Other than that, groups that don't have it will sometimes have the Evoker go out and bait the charges, which is what we end up doing here. See there, the Juggernaut charged us there because we aren't out in melee. That one got canceled. You can also stop these as well if you have a timer. When you're worried, you can use stops. It's a little fast. One is on us again. Yeah, you can see it charged a little bit out of melee, so we're not quite stacked up, but that's an example of a Juggernaut going out to mirror images. And honestly, maybe the mirror images were a bit far, but again, it doesn't really matter. Guardians and using Guardians to bait these is basically what the high key strategy is. So keep that in mind. I think also for mirror images, you need to make sure that you use them in combat with the Juggernauts. Otherwise, it can get a little finicky. But again, Ox Statue does not get finicky. Imps obviously are always there hitting, assuming they're in combat. They're good as well. You know, 3 different classes there that can deal with it. And then of course there's stops or just having your Evoker out, which we do have right now, and baiting them. But again, you saw that previous one where even the Evoker was out, significantly out. Someone else wasn't quite underneath this Juggernaut. Boom, he went there. You need to be underneath the Juggernaut, otherwise they are going to be hitting you. From here, we split up these pulls, and essentially how all these pulls are split up is there's 1 Augur and 1 Confessor per pull. This Confessor is a patrol, so we mine tooth it and just wait for him to leave a little bit. I think we poly him too. We just pull the rest of it. And like boring pulls, they're all like 4, 5 targets. And in terms of how we're actually managing these pulls, I am going to be solo kicking the Augur, and then we have our Rogue solo getting the Confessor there. Basically, any melee with a stop can solo them because you need to get the kick or CC on the Mending Word and then on the Mantle as well. And so you just kind of alternate through them because the Mantle CD is long enough that you're fine. So a Demon Hunter can also solo a Confessor as well if you have a Demon Hunter. We just have a Rogue, so he's soloing the Confessor, I'm soloing the Augur. I think, oh, you're Raging there. Careful of Raging. That's how much they did a significant amount of damage if 1 wildfire goes off, so I want to make sure. Otherwise, right, we have a bunch of floating kicks here that aren't really doing anything, so you don't need a Paladin for this. Really, any tank, obviously, even a Vengeance can solo both, right? So keep that in mind. Other thing to note here in this pack specifically is this is one of the 2 Colossuses you're fighting, and so this guy will deal additional damage every time you kill one of the troll guys here. On his own, he's not super scary, but once he starts getting a stack or 2, you want to be aware. You want to be personaling the Soulburn channel or vanishing, combat dropping, that kind of thing. Again, still messing up the Juggernauts here. Not ideal. But for the Colossus, basically, we have a ton of prio damage in this comp, which I talked about in our Waycrest video. We have the Outlaw Rogue and the Fire Mage, so you can see we actually killed this Colossus first. Almost first. We almost killed the Colossus first. That's how much prio damage we have in this comp, so it's not a huge issue for us, but you definitely want to be focusing off of that Colossus here. We're grouping the rest of the mobs on this platform. Again, one Augur, one Confessor. Not really a ton to talk about here. Again, there are Evokers is going to be baiting out here, and we're going to use mirror images as well. And he's just going to be, far enough away that he can dodge because he's not taking any damage from those charges. He's far enough away, and he's just dashing when they come out. And we have stops available as well. Dashing. That's how you would dodge it. Another Colossus pull here. Hitting the Colossus. Rogue on the Confessor, me on the Augur. Not really a ton here. This next pull we mess up, so I think, yeah, I don't know. Someone breaks it. I think a Trinket proc. Yeah, a Trinket proc looked like on the Augur there and broke the CC on him. So we just add him in. Ideally, you only have one Augur in this pull, and you can pull this Augur into boss. Actually, we're going to run out of kicks in this pull, so we're going to have to, I think, dodge a full Fiery Enchant channel. Not ideal. So that's why I usually CC this Augur and do the rest of this pull without the second Augur, and then you pull the Augur into boss. But we're going to do it with two Augurs for fun. I think we're gonna actually do we kill this? Oh, okay, I lied. We kill this Augur. That makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. This would have been a wild pull with two Augurs. So we killed the one Augur because we broke that CC. Takes a little bit more time. I step a little bit too close to this pack. I think it was Mindsoothe and the Mindsoothe faded, so I wasn't expecting it to pull on me there, just to pull the other priest in first. I could have just Avenger shielded this and pulled the priest after, though. That would have been fine. But again, I'm on the single Augur in this pack. We have AoE stops for the priestess channels, which are going to be going out. And again, mirror images, Ox Statue, Imps, or Evoker out there, and making sure that the actual charges are not murdering our entire party like that. Boom. These ones are actually synced as well, which is pretty nice. If you can sync them by pulling them at the same time, that's very, very nice if you have a double Juggernaut pull, just to make dodging a little easier if you're using someone to dodge. Obviously, if you're using like an Ox Statue, it's not a big deal, but if you're using a player, it's very, very nice to do that. Yeah, otherwise, boom. Juggernaut's very mad. Again, I cannot emphasize enough how important it is, especially on higher fortified keys, to be under the Juggernaut. Otherwise, you are an eligible target. Not ideal. This boss, there's not really a lot to talk about, right? Like, you CC the Spirit of Gold, or, you stun it, you kill it, you get the puddles. Yeah, I'm not going to spend any time on this boss. There's no weird tech. The boss just ends up doing all the damage to herself. Oh, too far. The classic Fire Death. Going down here, these Augurs are weird because they don't have a Juggernaut available to them, so they get stuck after a couple Wildfire casts trying to cast Fiery Enchant, so they end up just doing nothing. Turn my back to the pack there. Don't recommend doing that. And basically, I just had one Skyscreamer pack here, and the kind of the goal in this area basically is never pull more than one pack of Toxic Sards at a time. Just kill those Toxic Sards before you chain pull into another pack. So we've separated them in this way so that we have one. Just the Skyscreamer here, and again, no kicks required on these Augurs because after 2 kicks, they're done casting. We chain pull once it's only the Honor Guards left. We get 2 more Skyscreamers, 1 more pack of Sards, and again, you're going to see us kill these Sards and then add another Skyscreamer and pack of Sards. These ones over here in the top, avoiding this guy in the center. So boom, we kill those Sards, watch the patrol, and then we run over here across this area, grab this last Skyscreamer in this area. And I believe once these Sards are dead, yeah, I think ideally we would have chained over here as well and just keep chaining in this way. Yeah, we wait for the pat. Honestly, we probably didn't even need to wait. It was pretty safe. Boom. Kill these Sards. Same deal here, right? 1 pack of Sards at a time. Sards die. We chain to the next one. When it's the Skyscreamer, we end up killing it. We probably could have chained. It's probably raging. That's maybe why. But from here, you want to make sure you do try and grab these stealth guys. For Witch Doctors, again, I'm soloing one of the Witch Doctors, and then we have other people kicking the other Witch Doctor. But again, you don't need a Prop Paladin to do that. A Avenger Team Hunter could do it. If you had a healer with a kick, you could do it as well, and get every single kick. So it's not a big deal. It's not Prop Paladin required. Prop Paladin just makes it require a bit less brain power. We have AoE stops assigned to the shield, and again, ideally they are lined up. Sometimes they just desync. I'm not really sure why. A little weird. But you see I'm moving up the hill here, trying to find those Stalkers. And when these Stalkers do come out, especially on fortified keys, we do want to make sure we have like AoE CDs running. I think we Zephyr here at some point to deal with the Fan of Knives, because that can get a little scary. But usually it's not too dangerous, specifically in this pull, unless you let a Witch Doctor kick go through. So if that's the case, then you're in danger, but really it's not really a big deal. It's just you don't really need them anywhere else. Here we're going to skip any combat, sorry, any threat reduction on a humanoid works here. So Sap, Mind Soothe, Imprison from a Demon Hunter, Para Rop from a Monk. So lots of stuff you can do here to get past this. Obviously, you can Invispot as well, but obviously you don't have a way out then. So we just skip that pack. When this gate goes up, you aren't going to pull them, so that's nice, though we still kind of tend to avoid them. I think pets will sometimes do weird things around this wall and go through it and pull them, so be aware if you have a pet class. Otherwise, we just split our damage. It's like healer, AUG, tank, and then 1 DPS, 1 DPS. DPS, make sure you are positioned, like look where our mage is here, and the rogue's on the inside as well, just so you're in range of your AUG evoker. Rogue's not on the inside, but he's melee, so it's not a huge deal. But just you want to be in range of your AUG evoker, kill these at the same time. Again, not too much to this boss. There's no like weird strategy, just kiting around the room. The only thing you want to be aware of here is you're gonna see we cut the room a little bit here just to avoid the door. You see we didn't run right up against the door. My hammers can maybe be a bit weird. Haven't seen it do anything yet, but why risk it? And then the only thing is when you kill this boss, make sure no one is here because you can immediately start to aggro that pack when this gate is down. So we're back away from the gate when the boss dies, and we reapply our CC to the far right Witch Doctor and go from there. And at this point, we're done trash, right? So we are going straight to everyone's favorite boss, Yasma. And so I think the beginning of this boss fight for us is like a little weird. We don't quite play it well, I think. I could have played a lot better. So to start, it's pretty straightforward. The biggest damage overlap is always when Racking Pain overlaps a Soul Rend. In terms of how we're handling Soul Rends, it's basically the Evoker. Between the Evoker and the Mage's Mass Barrier, they are going to be defensiving every single one for the party there. There's Zephyr, that kind of stuff, Mass Barrier, and then just their Scales. So they're going to be personally every single one of those just to make sure people are fine, which means other defensives are for the individual Racking Pain. And of course, kind of like with the Waker's Manor second boss, we have externals in Pain Suppression from the Priest and Sack and Spell Warding from me as the tank as well for people that are out of defensives. I would kind of call when to use those. I don't think we end up using Spell Warding here, but we do end up using Sack and Pain Suppression as well. And immunities as well can be useful, especially if you can overlap it with the Racking Pain. And so basically here, we're just rotating around the room. I think we had an accidental step there. This is where we kind of mess up. So we bait these spiders towards us. There's an 8 seconds on the next spawn. This is the one where it's a little bit spell queuing stuff. So I think we get it. Yeah, we end up not getting it. So you can see here, it moves down the list. It shows us it's going to happen before the Soul Rend, but we end up getting the other spell queuing. So it's going to happen after the Soul Rend here. So boom, we actually have Soul Rend. So we were planning to get spiders and then do the Soul Rend. Which is not ideal. So we get caught in a weird spot here where the boss is in the corner where we wanted to drop the Soul Rend, and I wanted it to be over here. So what I should have done is I should have moved it this way more to give them space to drop their ads in this corner, and that would have been much better. Instead, we have to do a little weird thing here. We use Barrier as well. Sorry, as one in our cooldown rotation. Because why not? So we're killing these guys, and we're going to have to basically now bait these spiders back into this corner here. We're baiting them, and then we're doing a big move across the room. And from here on out, I think we do play it correctly. It's just the beginning part was a little weird. And so we're baiting the spiders over to this corner of the wall. We're going to drop a spawn of spiders over here, and then we're going to move. So there's the spiders baiting. Here's a drop of spiders coming in a second, and now we have Soul Rend coming out, and so they're going to go in the corner, and I'm going to pull the boss across the corner here, and they kill those mobs there, and we just regroup over here. And same deal, it's all about just making sure that we're in a safe spot. We're baiting the spiders. I just eat that one because it's the only one in front of us. We have a spawn now again just before the next Soul Rend, so we're going to bait the spiders towards us in this corner, drop new spiders in this corner, and then drop our Soul Rend in the one across from us. So boom, there's the new spiders. They come out. We're going to move across, and we're going to go drop the Soul Rends in this corner, and then do a big move after that to the opposite corner. So these are going to get baited towards players in the corner. They're going to drop them. They're going to kill them. And then we're going to do a move here across the room all the way. Boom, Sack's out on, there's one of the Sack examples. I think our rogue got bullied a bit there. And again, same deal, repeating, right? Baiting, and on a tyrannical key, you just have to do this for way longer, right? Baiting, moving, dropping spiders, moving, that kind of thing. Just making sure you have clean area and you're playing as a group. You can see basically this whole time the party is playing on me as the tank to make sure the spiders are all being baited and running in a similar direction. But there it is, guys. That is my 0.1% title route walkthrough for Atal'Dazar. Hopefully you did learn something, and if you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content like it, including walkthroughs just like this one for every single dungeon in Season 3 and beyond into the War Within. If you have any questions, please do drop those down in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer, or you can always stop by my Twitch channel at Tactics, where I stream all of my key pushing and mythic raid progression from a tank's perspective. Of course, massive thank you to all of my subscribers over on Patreon. I really do appreciate the support. Otherwise, thanks everyone so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.